out I wasn't recording. Awful. Anyway, hi! Hello. Welcome back to my channel. Good morning. It is in fact morning. And because I forced myself to get dressed and come and do this, I think I'm going to take a walk after this. Note to self. And today we're getting right back into the artist way. We have our week 7 check-in this week. I have been feeling really, I guess, conflicted or a little bit anxious about like getting deeper into the book because I don't feel like a lot is changing, or I'm not seeing, like, I'm not producing a lot of work. So I don't know. I feel kind of like, oh no, am I failing? Am I ruining it? Did I do something wrong? I don't know. But I'm gonna make it to the end. I simply must. And then I guess then we'll see if it worked at all. So week 7's theme is recovering a sense of connection, which I definitely desire deeply and want and need. The first section is about like listening and observing, like practicing artistic intuition and just taking in the world around you and learning to hear your artistic intuition speaking, which, you know, sounds nice. Not super actionable. Well, the actions are artist dates, so I've been doing those, but I don't know. I don't feel particularly moved and inspired by my artist dates. Maybe I need to do different ones. I tend to enjoy them when I'm doing them, or sometimes I don't. The bread will stay in my mind forever. So I'm having fun, and I think it's good to like set aside some time and just like have fun or like relax or like enjoy yourself. But so far I don't feel like more creative like flow. But I don't know. This week wasn't a great week for me. Anyway, the second section is on perfectionism and releasing perfectionism. I don't see myself as a perfectionist. I do sometimes feel like, oh, my stuff is so bad, why even try? Which actually is perfectionism, but listen, I'm not afraid of like drawing or sketching something, and if it's not perfectly what I have in my mind, being like, I'm never drawing again. Like, that's not me. I'm just like, oh, that sucks, delete. I'm very much team delete your art. And I feel like that is something that comes with a certain amount of practice or training. I feel like I was always a little okay with trying and like working on things. But that was something that was like reinforced a lot for me, especially in my specific art school. I know there are a lot of bad art teachers who are mean, but the people who I would like cross paths with would always say things like, for example, I took a paper making class. I love paper making. If you have the opportunity, definitely try. But my teacher for that class would always say the way to get over the fear of ruining your paper by marking it or experimenting it or playing with it is just to make as much as you can. So my attitude towards perfectionism with certain things, I know there's other stuff that like I do feel like very insecure, But what I try to remind myself is, if I'm afraid I'm going to do it bad, just do it a lot. Or if I'm afraid of ruining it, just have a lot. So I have less a fear of perfectionism and like trying, but I will like, I'm struggling to say I'm not a perfectionist, but I low-key am. The quality of perfectionism that I have though, it's not like I won't try. Oh no, I'm losing these allegations because low-key sometimes I will. If I do something and it's not perfect, that doesn't mean I never do it ever again. So in that sense, I don't think I'm a perfectionist. Or if I draw something and I don't totally love it, I'm very happy to just like be like, okay, delete. That was just practice. Or that was just for fun. Or like I write some stuff and I'm like, not great. I just like don't open it again, but I keep writing, hopefully, if I have some ideas. So in that sense, I don't think I'm a perfectionist, but I can be discouraged by not being, it's less not doing what I have in my head and more not being able to do what I can see other people can do. And that's, to me, less perfectionism and more like, I guess, not recognizing myself or what I can do that other people can't, or what other people see in me as positive, or my strengths, where I see other people's strengths to be able to do a specific type of design, a specific type of art, a specific type of writing. Maybe they see something in me, or someone else could see something in me that they can't do that they would think is just as valuable. But for me, I'm just like, oh, I just do silly little freaking fool shit. And I don't think it's as valuable. Seeing the reflection of myself, sometimes I'm like, this is nothing. But seeing someone else in their work, I'm like, I wish I was you. Which does lead into jealousy, which was another section of this chapter. And I realized while editing this past week, I had spoken about this idea before. So I have heard about this before, perhaps from someone else who has read this book, or maybe it's just something that, people have realized. The idea that if you are jealous of someone or something, that is a sign of what you want in life or what direction you should be trying to go in, because you will not be jealous of someone who has something that you don't want. So you can use the information that emotion gives you to get closer to what you want. And this section had activity that made me extremely uncomfortable, called the jealousy map. So you write down who you are jealous of, why you are jealous of them, and one action you can take that will move you toward that unaddressed goal. And as I immediately started feeling uncomfortable as soon as I read this, because of course being jealous makes you feel like you're a bad person. And also, I feel like with me and jealousy in particular, it's such a... So there's the jealousy that's like jealous about this one particular thing. And then there's the jealousy that's like just an ambient feeling of, I feel like you're better than me and you are who I would be if I was good at stuff and I wasn't stupid and I was motivated, if I was treated well, etc., etc., etc. And it's just it's just a little toxic and not necessarily true. Like, stuff. And then at the same time, like, I actually don't have malice for this person, like, at all, or think that they're not working for the things that they have. So I feel bad that I get so sad when I encounter other people's accomplishments and stuff like that. But the feeling still makes me feel like, oh, I'm a bad person. So I was so like allergic to this exercise. I hated doing it. And because it was sort of this like ambient feeling of like, they're just better than me, I couldn't really think of like an actionable thing to do. Like I couldn't identify what I was looking for, and I feel like I just need to like #heal. So I don't think I did it right. Or I should have maybe focused on something else, like, or tried to focus on the more concrete things that make me feel that like, oh, sadness. Maybe I'll try to do this again. You know, I always kind of say that, but do I go back to the exercises? If I had a pen, I would do it now for posterity. So to go back, there's also a section on risk taking and how this is to go with the perfectionism thing. How when you know you can do something, it's important to keep evolving and to keep pushing yourself to like try new things and experiment, or else you just become stagnant. And maybe you can be successful stagnant, but you will not feel good about your work. It like breeds this sense of anxiety. And funnily enough, I was watching a video where someone was talking about a particular artist who they feel is stagnant because they're chasing numbers and like accolades instead of trying to further their art. So I feel like I got an in-depth like lesson into this mindset. So that was interesting to like see and hear from an outsider perspective as well, that people will be able to recognize when you have this like risk averse anxiety. Aside from the jealousy map exercise, there were a couple of exercises geared towards like experiences or things that you didn't do or have as a child and identifying those. And then and not exactly in the reverse, but to not leave things on a negative note, also take inventory of the positive things that exist in your life now in the current moment, which I liked. I like the symmetry of that. And I feel like it's effective in a way to say, okay, what are the things you didn't do as a kid? Go do them. And then also, because especially if you grew up a certain way, poor, there may have been a lot of things that you didn't get to do that like now with adult money and adult freedom, you can go and do them like immediately. So inner child healing. That's pretty fun. But also, thinking about those things really can make you think like, I didn't get to have a life, or like, when is my life going to start? I basically haven't lived at all. So it's nice also to say like, hey, before you go down that dark path, what is something nice that you own? What's your favorite thing about your hometown? Name a loyal friend that you have. What's something you do for self-care? To like really get you in the mindset of, oh, I do have good things happening in my life, and more good things could happen. All right, let's get into the check-in proper. The first task I did was to listen to an album for no particular reason but for joy. The album that I chose was so random. It was Debut by Bjork. I have never, first of all, it's a great album. Secondly, this is my first time listening to Bjork ever. And I was born in 1998, right? So when I was a kid, and anytime anyone would reference Bjork, it would be the like swan outfit that she wore. And people would act like if they were portraying her or doing an impression of her, they were acting like this was like she was so unhinged. And I listened to the album, and maybe it's because she influenced other people who followed, but it was not that weird. And I even was like, was she doing like publicity stunts? Like, was she acting weird in interviews? I watched a few like short clips of her. She's just normal. Why were people acting like she was like an alien? She's just a person. She's just Bjork. Like, what? Oh my god. So that was kind of like killing me a little bit. That I was like, she's just regular. Why were people doing her so dirty? But great album. I really enjoyed it. I low-key put it on as background music at work, which I don't think I was supposed to do. And I honestly should like lay down and listen to an album and with like totally like no obligations. But I was doing something that was kind of like easy, so I felt like I was just like enjoying it. The second task I chose was to create a wonderful smell in your home. So the examples that were given were like by cooking or baking, scented candle, incense, etc. It's been a long time since I've lit a candle. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna burn a candle and like, ooh, enjoy smells, whatever. I don't have any candles. Which is why it's been a long time since I've burned a scented candle. But that was like, I was so like perplexed by that, because a few years ago I had so many scented candles, and I was really like enjoying that. So I didn't have the time nor the desire to go and buy a scented candle, but maybe now I will, because I kind of want to. But anyway, I ended up burning some incense, which I like incense, but my migraines don't like incense. So I made sure a window was open, and I kind of like put it in a different room from where I was, which is kind of bad. You should be watching. If you're burning something, you should be watching it. So if I ever get incense again, I'm going to try to get the half-size sticks, because that's about as much incense as I can take. The third task, which I didn't do, well, I'm debating if this counts. That's another thing about me I should keep an eye on, is I don't know when to count things. And I think that should change the way that I need to be more specific with dictating what my goals are and what I want and have to do, so that I can say for certain something counts. The exact wording in the book is: buy yourself one wonderful pair of socks, one wonderful pair of gloves, one wonderfully comforting, self-loving something. So, I didn't go shopping, first of all, really. So I didn't really see anything that I was like, oh, I need this like thing. I didn't have any desires for anything that I was deeming like cozy and comfortable. But one day I did purposely stop on my way home to get some ice cream, and you know what? I think that will count, but it's not something that I can materially look at in my life over a period of time and be like reminded of how happy I am to have this thing. Like you could with like your favorite pair of socks or a piece of jewelry that you've been wanting but decided that you don't need, or something like that. Or just like something like lovely to have in the space. I don't know. I'm I'm going to count it as a check just to have my completionist heart be happy. The next was to list out like favorite movies and what they sort of have in common, like pull out the themes and then see if those themes are reflected in your sort of goals or your sort of like life vision. The movies that I put down are Everything Everywhere All at Once, fantastic film, Alien, 1979, Swiss Army Man, Super Dark Times, and The Wiz. I just like strange movies where impossible things happen. I like surreal imagery. I like a little bit of horror, but one of the things I like the most about horror, and especially why I prefer creature features, is because that's where surreal, weird things happen. And I didn't feel like there were a lot of movies. I feel like now I see them more often, where there's like surreal, like trippy imagery. So I get scared really easily, but I want to see something bizarre. How does that align with my goals? Don't know. But I think that is reflected in some of my work. I think especially in my writing, when I think of my design or what I like to draw, I don't think it's as like, wow, outgoing as that, which I'm fine with. One thing I really like about Alien, or that really struck me the first time that I was watching it, is I felt like the dialogue was very like raw and almost like improv-y. But I think it is more conversational than any of the other movies that I had seen before. So it really struck me how like, oh, it feels like real life, even though it's very far removed. There's a certain imperfection that makes it feel like raw and like real. And I felt the sort of the same way with Super Dark Times, that it was this like there was this like primal cringe of watching like teenagers really acting like teenaged and like annoying or like awkward or weird, sort of set against this surreal style. The last thing I chose, and I made a particular effort to choose this, was to make a collage. Since the image file was introduced, I have been trying to like gather images and low-key failing because I can't get my hands on like physical materials, and I want to do it physically. I don't really want to have just like a Pinterest board. I have made like vision boards and collections and stuff digitally. I used to actually do it every single month. I would make like a mood board, not necessarily a vision board, but I've made lots of vision boards and mood boards and stuff digitally in the past. But for this, I really wanted to do it in the physical space. And I just don't have access to magazines. I could buy some, but I don't want to spend like $15 on something I'm going to rip up, which maybe I should commit to, but I didn't want to. So I did So I did decide, okay, I've put this off for so long. This time I'm going to make some kind of collage or collect some kind of images. This is a synchronicity. I happened to find there was an art gallery near me that was hosting a collage making workshop event. So I didn't want to go, but I was like, I literally have to do this. This was put in front of me for a reason. So I was like, gross. And I signed up, and it was literally a wonderful time. The only thing is, the part of the city that that's in, it's so hard to get to. If you use public transportation, you still have to walk 15 minutes, and then to walk back, that's another 15 minutes. And then it's still almost an hour on the bus or the train. So I took a Lyft there and back, and I was like, ugh, so much money for a free event, but it's what it's. And it was also freaking pouring rain. So, not necessarily normally, but sometimes what I do when I have to Lyft somewhere is I'll take public transportation one way, and the other way I'll like Lyft. But I was not feeling it, so I paid the money for it. But I really like my collage. I didn't actively have like things in my head on like what I was like searching for, but I think I was able to represent some of my wishes. So it was a fun event. I wish I was a little bit more social when I was there and more like chatty with the other people who were there. But I was just like quiet. I didn't wear my headphones or anything, which good. I was present in the physical space. And it's not like I didn't talk to anyone, but there wasn't too much like just like chatting, which was fine. Everyone was kind of like absorbed in their work. And there were a few people who were like talking and meeting each other, and I kind of wish I like put myself out there a little bit more, because I do want to try to like meet more people and be more like outgoing. So those were my tasks. I don't know if I gained a lot from them. This whole week I feel kind of like bleh, but I had a lot of stuff going on, so maybe that's me being a pessimist. So, morning pages. I did all my morning pages this week. Again, I should put it in my calendar just as a reminder to myself on Saturdays and Sundays specifically. Ooh, did I do today? Oh no. Ooh, I didn't. I need to put it in my calendar as a reminder to do my morning pages on Saturday and Sunday, because when I don't have to get up early for work and I'm just chilling, I totally forget. All right, 2, artist date. The collaging event that I just talked about that I went to, I'm counting that as my artist date. And I think that counts. It went well. I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. And, you know, the rest that I just said. Synchronicity. Like I mentioned before, that event just sort of popped up. I was scrolling on Eventbrite. Maybe I was looking for something to do for my artist date. Or, no, I was actually looking for Halloween events. And was I? Anyway, that collaging event, it just popped up. And it happened to be after I was telling some people, like, I need to do this collaging thing, but I don't know where to find, like, materials or how I'm going to do it. And it just came up, and I was like, oh, I literally have to do this. It's not an option, it's required. So I went. I've been listening to the Newkirk's Haunted Object podcast, and they talk a lot about synchronicity because it's a big thing in Hellier. And I think that and also talking about the way Julia talks about synchronicity and how I've been like on the lookout for it, and I know I'm feeling it but not feeling it. And then also there was an interview I listened to with like a psychic on a different podcast. So it's like I think all that like deeply contributed to my mind being like, this, you are definitely supposed to go to this thing and it's not an option, and really pushed me to go. And even still, then I like asked some people, hey, do you think I should go to this? And I was literally signing up as they were telling me, yes, literally just do it. So am I a little deranged? Anyway. Other issues. This week, I have been so stretched. Actually, yes, I have been so stretched and also so stressed. And I have been like clenching my jaw so badly. When I was a kid, I used to grind my teeth. So I've been like clenching my jaw for years. And I just like all this stuff that was going on like with my job, and then there was just this overwhelming sense of like pressure. And I'm also trying to I'm trying to move forward with some stuff. Like I said, I'm trying to like search for new experiences and to like feel a sense of forward momentum. So I've been searching for like opportunities to do that in a way that is also stressing me out. Then also traffic this week was horrible for no reason. I misspelled something as I was writing this, and when I went to scratch it out, I was like uncontrollably like scratching into the paper. And I had to calm myself down and be like, hey, you're definitely stressed, relax a little bit. So massage is definitely on the list for artist dates this week. I wonder if I'll be able to do that this weekend. This week or next week. But I was trying to book a massage when I was coming back from vacation, but I got trapped in Atlanta, so I missed my flight home. So I was like, okay, I'm just not going to finish this booking. But the owner of the place saw me somehow and called my phone number, and we actually had a very pleasant like chat. So I told her, you're going to be hearing from me within the next month, and I will come and get a massage. So I'm going into week 8 with a sense of exhaustion, slightly losing hope. This is what Julia warned us about. I think this is when I'm supposed to be wanting to quit. Yeah, definitely feeling that. Actually, I'm not feeling that. I don't want to quit. I have felt a really strong commitment to this that I cannot explain, because I am, once again, the queen of giving up. But week 8 is recovering a sense of strength, so definitely need that. Let's see. This week tackles another major creative block, time. Oh, it's like it was written for me. You will explore the ways in which you have used your perception of time to preclude taking creative risks. Okay, a read. You will identify immediate and practical changes you can make in your current life. Sounds good. You will excavate the early conditioning that may have encouraged you to settle for far less than you desire creatively. All right, okay, Julia strikes again. She's coming for my ass. All right, that wraps up what was supposed to be a quick check-in, and now my filming is almost an hour. So today I've got to read chapter 8, closing the loop on chapter 7 with this video. And that's going to be it for me. If you like the video, comment in the comments if you have something to say or you feel like any of this was #relatable. If you think someone could benefit from this video or this series, share it with them. Or maybe tell them to start from the beginning. I don't know. And honestly, a huge shout out to the 5 people who, like, the day I post these are watching them every single time. Freaking love that. Thank you so much, all of you, for supporting me. Okay, bye. See you next week.